gorgeous individuals, it's Kav here, and today I'm going to be talking about Chaotic Good by Whitney Gardner. I was lucky enough to receive an arc of this novel from the publishing team at Knopf, so thank you all so much for sending me an arc of this novel to review. Chaotic Good is a young adult contemporary novel featuring a main character, Cameron, who is essentially a geeky girl who loves cosplaying, but because of the fact that she's a girl, she does not get treated well, so she starts dressing up as a boy to fit in more with the geeky crowd, and essentially some complications ensue from that. I gave this novel a 4 out of 5 stars, so overall I did really enjoy it with a few minor details that I did not like, and because this is an arc review, it will be spoiler free, so feel free to stick around so I can tell you all my different thoughts about this novel. And without further ado, let's get started. So this is Whitney Gardner's sophomore novel. She wrote one novel before this, You're Welcome Universe, and I have read both of them. Something I have noticed in reading these two novels is that she is one of the most unique young adult contemporary authors out there. I think that a lot of times, in contemporary especially, things can tend to get repetitive and cliche, and of course some cliches are great and lovely, but there are some that tend to be overused at times, and I think she's brilliant at coming up with unique premises for her novels, and she always finds some sort of interesting angle to take her novel at, which is something I don't see in a lot of authors, and that's definitely my favorite aspect of her work. They are genuinely unlike any other novels you read, and I say that in the best way possible. Chaotic Good was just another example of that, so I very much enjoyed the uniqueness of it. Something she also does really well is incorporate diversity in it, but incorporate it in a way where it doesn't seem like she was trying to check a box off. It's like casual diversity. I think that that's something more authors really need to do, so it's something I really appreciate that she does in her novels. So that's just another aspect of her work overall that I enjoy, but now I'm going to be getting more into details with this novel. From following Whitney Gardner on Twitter, it is very obvious to me that she is someone who loves Dungeons and Dragons, and she is someone who is geeky herself. So the geekiness of this novel was done with so much rawness and authenticity, because I could see the real feelings Whitney had come out in this novel. It was real because it's something that the author herself knew about. Those aspects of the novel were real, and I loved seeing that in this novel. I loved seeing something so raw and genuine in this novel, in the geekiness of it, because it really was something that the author felt as well as the main character. And this novel, celebrates geekiness, but it also battles the sexism that comes with it. Being a girl who likes cosplaying and who likes games and stuff, it really battles the sexism with that. That is something I've heard of before. I think that in itself can be tropey if done a certain way, but the way that the author tackled it in this novel, she tackled it with this kind of raw authenticity, and I just felt like it was done in a way I had never really seen before, because whereas that premise in itself on its own is something I have heard of, she takes it apart in a very, very different manner, and I very much enjoyed reading about that, because I think it's something that's so important, because it still baffles me that to this day people still can't get over the fact that girls can like video games, or they can like cosplaying or whatever. It's the same as when guys or people of other genders do. So no matter what gender you are, you can like cosplaying and geekiness and everything that comes with it, and this novel essentially tells you that. It tells you that no matter your gender, you can love this stuff, and I love the message that it sends in that way. Furthermore, the relationship dynamics in this novel were brilliant. The main character's best friend is essentially her twin brother, who, by the way, is gay, and he and his love interest are so adorable in this novel. I was like crying reading about him having a crush on this guy. It was so cute, and it was by far one of my favorite aspects of the novel. But going back to the relationship dynamics, her best friend is essentially her twin brother, so both her twin brother and her parents play a huge part in this novel, plus the friends she makes when she dresses up as a boy, plus the friends she had made before that, and also the adorable romance romance she herself is in, because that was also so cute. Both of the romances in this novel are absolutely adorable, and I was like crying reading that fluff because it was so pure and good. All of these different relationship dynamics are touched on and done so well. I really love the focus on family. I think that that is something that is lacking in a lot of young adult work, and even more so the friendship dynamics were also done well. We got to see her make a new friend because she had recently moved before the novel started, and I really enjoyed seeing that because the dynamic was explored so well, and the way that friendship was formed and the multiple friendships she made in this novel were just so brilliant and well done, and I absolutely adored it. Now there is one more positive that I do want to touch on, but also want to give a trigger warning for. This novel deals very heavily with themes of cyberbullying and doxing and suicide. Please be aware of that before going into this novel because they are very prevalent in this book. I really liked how that was handled for the most part because cyberbullying and that stuff is very real in society today, and it's unfortunate that it is, but I think that by having more conversations about it, by having novels such as these out in the world, it will help lessen that. I hope, that's my hope. So I really think that the author handled that topic with care and really knew how to tackle it in a way that was respectful and that was authentic. So I really enjoyed how that was done because I think this novel really balanced out fluffiness, cuteness, the celebration of geekiness with this very important topic that we do need to discuss more of while tying that into sexism. So it had these very two important topics along with these other very cute and fun-loving, light-hearted topics. Now, as I did give this novel a 4 out of 5 stars, there were a few parts of it that I wasn't a huge fan of. When tackling a topic like cross-dressing, I really don't like that term because it's very cis-centric, but I'm using it for lack of a better one. But when tackling topics such as that, you have to be very careful with how you tackle it because it can come across as very cis-centric. Most of mainstream media is cis-centric, but it's much more obvious in books that tackle these sort of topics, and there was no real acknowledgement of non-binary people or people who fall outside the gender binary, and I really wish that had been done. It didn't even have to be anything in-depth, just an acknowledgement of non-binary people would have really sufficed, but I felt like because of the theme this novel handled and then not acknowledging people outside of the gender binary, it just really made it cis-centric. So I wish that hadn't been done because I think that that could have been handled better and with more care. The other complaint I have about it isn't as big as that one. It's more so just the ending of this novel. This is a very short book. The arc is about 250 pages. So I really think that the ending could have been a little bit longer, honestly, and generally I never say that about books, but I felt like there was so much going on in this book, and about 3/4 into it, we reached the real conflict of this novel that I think was handled so well. But I felt like the final conclusion fell a little bit flat. It just seemed like everything was wrapped up really quickly with a little pretty bow, and there was no real resolution, especially for the cyberbullying. I just wish there had been more of a resolution with that. Obviously, that is not a huge complaint. I am very pleased overall with this novel. As I mentioned at the very beginning of this video, Whitney Gardner is an extremely talented author. I genuinely think she is one of the most talented young adult authors out there. So overall, I do think that I would recommend this novel, but I would keep in mind the fact that it is somewhat cis-centric. So that essentially concludes all my thoughts on this novel. I will leave my Goodreads review of this novel in the description below if you'd like to check that out, as well as links to pre-order this book. It is out on March 13th, but do be aware of the trigger warnings I gave. And that's about it for this video. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a like and subscribe because that stuff makes me happy. And go ahead and comment down below whether or not you will be picking up this novel. And as usual, all of my social media and my Goodreads will be in the description below if you'd like to follow me anywhere else. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you are having a lovely day night wherever you are. Please remember you are beautiful and you deserve the world, and I will see you soon for a brand new video. Goodbye!